What's poppin', players? Welcome back to the Two Penny Games review. This time, a little video game book club, Two Penny Game Club, which is your monthly video game book club that we do the first episode of every month. We're a little early this month just because of where the timing led up. Next week, we're doing our Fire Emblem Engage review instead. So this week, we were all ready and willing to jump in on our review for Hades. This will be our 8th game that we've reviewed on the Two Penny Game Club. And of course, at the end of the episode, we will rank it amongst all the other games that we've done up to this point. I am your host, Tavin Bothel, here with my good gaming buds. Say hello to the people, Connor Elliott.
You already probably have seen me if you've watched the podcast, but for the breakout people, hello.
Hello. He is, of course, referencing the Two Penny Games Cast, which is our weekly news video game news podcast that goes up every Monday, 8 a.m. Central Time, youtube.com/2pennygames, and mainstream podcast services of your choice. This is attached to the end of that, or if you're just watching on youtube.com/2pennygames, the review gets broken out and put up immediately. Also, you can watch us live over at twitch.tv/2pennygames every Sunday from about 3 p.m. to, 6-ish, however long it takes us to get through all of our shows. And then, of course, at around, 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, not quite sure yet when that's going to happen, we will be reacting and reviewing The Last of Us episode by episode. This week, we're doing episode 2, The Infected. That will, of course, go up live over at youtube.com/2pennygames. But to finish out our little threesome of hosts, say hello to the people, Phil Shoemaker.
Hey, what's up? It's me. It's Phil.
It's Phil. Well,
I got thrown off by the long break between Connor's introduction and my introduction. I was like, I guess I'm here.
It was. I do. Sorry about that. It's a little different for the rigmarole. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get right into it. Hades, some quick facts for you. December 6th, 2018, the game first came out. It sold about 1 million copies during its nearly 2-year-long early access period. Hades sold about 700,000 copies. Within 3 days of its official release, it sold an additional 300,000. Did I say 300 or 700 before? I said 700 before, right? Early access, 700,000. After official release, an additional 300,000 copies for a sale over 1 million. I'm sure this number has also increased after it came out on PlayStation and Xbox, but these are the most recent things that I'm pulling from Wikipedia.
The official release was originally just on PC and Switch, right?
Yes, yeah, PC and Switch initially. With a Metacritic score of 93. I'll say I first played the game on Switch, then switched over to PlayStation mid to late last year. So when it came up on the Game Club wheel this time, I was like, oh boy, here we go, because I just finished playing a lot of it. So to jump into my review of Hades, I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, I like myself a good podcast game. A game that you can play, not fully pay attention to, and just have a podcast or music or something just playing in the background, having that multiple stimuli hitting me at all times. And Hades fits that perfectly. Hades is the type of game where you can invest just as much attention to it as you want. You can pay attention to its story, its characters, its writing, its music, its narrative, all you want, or just kind of, tune that out, put on a podcast, and just vibe out and kill some demons in the different levels of the underworld. I've always felt that Hades has a great cast, great voice acting, great music, and overall just fantastic systems. I don't think its combat is the best in the world, but it's more than serviceable, and definitely entertaining, and definitely more often than not, you feel like, that was my fault. I screwed up when you die and you get sent back to the beginning. Hades, of course, being a roguelite game, one that kind of popularized the genre on a mainstream level in recent years, and led us to getting, other great roguelites such as Returnal, which was my game of the year 21? And yeah, Hades was really high up there when it came out in 2019, 2018, 2019, 2018. What did I say? 2018.
Well, that was when it was early access. It was originally released, like officially released in 2020.
Oh, okay. Okay, my fault.
2020. 2020.
I just grabbed the first date I saw. Yeah, it released on Nintendo Switch in September of 2020, which sounds better for my memory of things. So I apologize for that misunderstanding. So it ranked very high in my 2020 list. You can go check our top 10 lists for that year out.
I was before I was allowed to play it, but it was my game of the year. So
Allowed to play it?
It was it was high for me. I don't remember where exactly, but it was probably
like
top
3,
5 somewhere around there. But anyways, this time around, even though I was kind of tired of Hades because I just finished playing it myself, I can't deny that it's still a really fun game and a really good time, and I fully recommend it. I haven't personally beaten Hades, like I said, but we're recording early, so I will beat him soon. I'm getting very close. I've seen him a couple of times, and I've gotten very close every time that I've seen him. So it's just a matter of do the dice roll in my favor to get there by the end.
my thing is you've never actually like completed the game.
Yeah, but like once you beat Hades, you've played Hades, you've beaten Hades, you've done Hades, you know? Like
Right, but you didn't do all the other stuff.
Okay, I didn't bring Mom home. Okay,
You didn't bring Mom home. You didn't bring Hades and his family back into the fold of the Mount Olympus gods.
I wasn't
Okay,
able to
but
do that.
I've put 50 plus hours into the game collectively. So like I've
mend their
played the fuck out of Hades. And
50 hours and you never got back to
Did you romance Megara or Thanatos
Oh, here's-
or even Dusa?
I was always planning to. I was just never got around to it. But I've beaten Hades like, across all 3 or all 2 playthroughs. I've beaten him easily a dozen times, split between the 2, 5 to 7 each. So like, I mean, I've played the fuck out of Hades. Like I know Hades,
Okay.
And this is my thing with the game also is like, put in as much investment as you want. Like, that's not the point of it. The point of it is to play around with the systems and the mechanics and the roguelite things. All of the story and the relationship stuff is secondary to that.
What level heat? What heat level did you get to? On the Pact of Punishment, do you know?
I couldn't tell you. I think on my PlayStation, I'm sitting around 3. On Switch, maybe 5. 4 or 5, somewhere around there.
To get the platinum, you have to get like heat level 10 or something like that.
Yeah, no, I've gotten nowhere near that, but I haven't. I put most of my time on Switch. Still, like PlayStation is still working its way there.
It is on PlayStation.
Yeah, Connor.
It's in my mind so much as a Nintendo Switch title because it's just the best way to play it.
That's where I first got it. Yeah.
Well, it's all and it's just a great pick up and play thing. But we're getting into the weeds here. Connor, go ahead, give me your review of Hades.
Well, as the man in this chant that beat it in the most efficient time at a run of 8, I loved this game.
How the fuck did you do that, by the way?
I'm just
crazy to me.
Just so good, I guess. Oh, I am a sword user, by the way, because the sword is the best weapon in the game, objectively. Though this, overall, it's a fantastic game. It's one of my favorite games that I've played in recent years. It is able to have, I love the combat system, though it is very simplistic. The breadth that it gives you with all of the weapons you have access to and the way that you can unlock more of them just makes it to where the gameplay loop is just constantly feeding me a source of fun. I'm in love with the dialogue of this game, the character design, the art in general of it. The story itself has always made me play more and more of the game. I unfortunately haven't done the ultimate ending, which I would argue is, resolving the central conflict of the game, which I won't go too far into right now. Well, I'll just say it. Between Hades and the Olympian gods. I tried to beat it in this new playthrough, but unfortunately I had other things to do. So once I beat Hades, I kind of lost track of time, and now here we are. But there's a reason why it's so popular. It's because it has such easy to play gameplay for people that maybe not play video games all that much. They're able to jump in and have a relatively easy time with it, but it also introduces enough difficulty so more challenged gamers can have fun with it. trying to make it as difficult as possible with things like the Pact of Punishment, which once again just feeds back into a gameplay loop that seemingly never ends because it's years after it's been out and I'm still playing it even now. And every single time I open up that game, which I can do very easily on my Switch, I play it for as long as I see fit, which could be up to 3 hours, 4 hours, even though I've already put hours and hours into this game before that. It's amazing. It's a masterpiece, I would argue.
Phil.
Yeah, y'all have kind of hit the nail on the head already. So I platinumed this game back in September of last year. But no, you guys already said fucking music, the art design in this game is phenomenal. It got me into the roguelike genre of this game in general. Like it straight up just threw me back into the roguelikes, made me want to go back and play like Dead Cells and other stuff that Supergiant made. Like I want to get into Bastion and Transistor. Those both look fun. So how I feel about this game is it's the perfect like pick up, just like Tavin said earlier, pick up, throw on a podcast, kill some time. It's so fun doing it. Those are like my bread and butter type of games where you don't have to put full focus on it. That's probably why I like Kingdom Hearts so much.
Kingdom Hearts is better the less attention you pay it.
Man. But yeah, they're. I mean, when I beat Hades, it actually really bothers me that I could not, as what I would consider myself the Hades guy, having been the one to platinum it and gotten the full ending and all of that, and I think I've experienced the most of this game out of all of us. And I was genuinely annoyed when I could not beat it at either the same amount or less. Because I did that on the stream and I wasn't able to beat it, unfortunately. But I concede that Connor was able to best me in that. I beat Hades on I think it was my 15th attempt, because I kind of was like, as soon as I couldn't beat the 8, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna take my time, upgrade more, do whatever.
Was it 15? I thought you had done it a lot faster than that.
Yeah, I thought it was like 12.
I thought he said 12 in the chat.
Did I? Let me
Unless
see what
he's
I
a
said.
little liar. He might be a little.
I thought I said 15.
Modest is the correct word.
I'm in run 15 now, I think.
Attempt 15. I said all right, beat Hades. Attempt 15, just in time for Fire Emblem.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm in attempt 15, somewhere around there. I thought you had done 13, so I was really disheartened when I didn't do it on the 13th. But, you know, I think I'm still past. I think you've still beaten me, but I'm still around there.
Yeah. God, what a game! Phenomenal.
Yeah.
It was like I said earlier, it was my game of the year for 2020. So, thank you, Tavin, for introducing me to this game, because we were at the Airbnb doing our thing, having
That's
fun,
right.
and you pulled it up one day, and I was like, oh, I want to give it a try.
Yeah,
and I got 2 Hades my first time.
Well, yeah, but you were playing on my profile.
No, I'm saying, but it was my first experience with the game, and I got all the way to the final boss, and I did not know that he had a second phase. And I was very surprised.
I think I told you, didn't I?
No, you did not tell me.
Oh, okay. I left that piece of information out. Yeah, I just think this game is amazing. Like, I really do think it's fantastic. Any game where the systems build on each other so well is just like an instant satisfaction for me, especially because like it feels good. Like, game feel is really important to me, and I think Hades nails their game feel of how it feels to move around the map, zip around with your dodges, and just run around and your attacks and so forth.
Oh, I do want to add real quick, Connor, the sword is fantastic. Not the best weapon in the game. The best weapon in the game is the adamant rail. The gun.
You know, I wish I could have, and that's the one I mastered the second least, next to the bow.
It is the best. I was actually bummed out that I couldn't. It was like I beat Hades in this run before I actually had the chance to use the rail.
You know,
yeah, my favorite is a tie between the spear and the bow.
You know what? I sword's still the best, but I found a new second best weapon for me. It almost carried me all the way to the end, and that's the twin fists. Surprisingly.
Oh yeah,
the fists are good.
That was my favorite before. That was my favorite before I was enlightened by the power of the rail.
Yeah, I like the shield a lot, specifically when you get like the upgraded level of it, where you throw
Zeus
it and it like does the slow throw.
Yeah, that's the
and
Zeus
just
one. Yeah,
the AOE effects and so forth. You put some Athena on some Athena's deflect on that, and you just sit in it and just fucking bash motherfuckers around.
Oh, you know what's better? If you put Ares on that, because then they get stacked with the despair over and over and over and over.
Ooh, that's a good point.
one.
Yeah.
Doom.
I found in this playthrough, I found a really big appreciation for Dionysus this time around.
Oh, yeah. He's always been
which
great.
I've always liked him, but like this time around, whatever, he's just really been speaking to me. Artemis has always and probably always will be my favorite of the different sets of boons and so forth. Just critical rates, man. Get those criticals up, damage up, extra bonus damage, like type stuff. I love like the combination of like if you get like a good pull for the any damage has a chance for critical, and then get the little arrows that come out with every hit and so forth. Like that in combination with every critical hit marks another target. So then you just start bouncing from target to target to target, and circling critical hits again and again and again. You'll clear maps like that. Like and that's like the most satisfying thing to me. I just can't get into I can't get into the sword, and I can't get into the adamant rail really at all. And the sword I've had more luck with in recent plays, but like the rail just does not work for me. And it's just because of how slow it makes Zagreus. I say this, but I like the bow. But I think it's just the addition of like, and I know there's things you can do to take care of this, but the addition of like having to reload the gun and the special attack, I don't like the special attack. And yeah, the rail has just never worked for me in a game flow sense.
It always would be one that I loved until the end, when it seemed like it faltered on the last mission and Hades boss fight. But I have endurance with Phil. It is a good weapon ultimately.
What I'm gonna say is, so my adamant rail is my favorite, but there's conditions on that. I have to have the adamant rail, and I have to get the hammer upgrade, which changes the special to a rocket.
Okay, yeah. See, and I haven't even played enough to even know any of the upgrades for it and so forth, which is on me.
So there's two upgrades that make the adamant rail just fucking broken. You get it's two hammer upgrades. So you get one hammer upgrade that changes it to a rocket, and then you get the other hammer upgrade, which changes the amount of specials that get thrown out.
Yeah.
So it's like five or six rockets all coming out at once, and they all have the same amount of damage, base damage, because it uses the split that comes from the split bombs. And it applies that before the rocket's base damage is set to 50. So it's just straight up, it's base damage 50 damage rockets all coming out at once, and it's fucking phenomenal. And
I will say, I don't think there's a single bad weapon. There's just weapons that work for you and weapons that don't.
No, not at all.
But like all of them work.
I think the one that works for me the least, probably the bow. It's not bad by any means. That's actually what I actually beat Hades in this run with the bow for the first time. So I beat him with the bow before, but he was the one that I beat my this review run with.
Yeah, I love the spear. The spear is really my thing. I think the spear probably is my favorite weapon. It's just I also like the bow and so forth. But yeah, that spear, man. With the triple jab, and then if you get it to where it splits into threes, and then just stack damages on top of that, like you're hitting everything, and it's awesome. I found out I've never done. I usually only do Athena's reflect on things like your dash. Or maybe your special, depending on specific weapons. I talked about the shield throw that stays in the area for a little while. Sometimes I'll put it on my cast, and I find success with the cast. This time, for the first time, I put it on my attack with the spear, and fucking made me goddamn nearly invincible. I was kicking ass with that, and I was really surprised to know that. And I just love that I'm all of these hours deep on my third playthrough, and I'm still finding new configurations. And it's still early. Like, I haven't even unlocked the ability to get upgrades on my weapons yet. And get different variations of my weapons, which kind of kills the replayability for me, even though the game is inherently replayable. But starting from zero again and again, I actually find very frustrating. Because it's one of those types of games that slowly gives you its systems over time. So the game isn't really showing you everything it has, and the mechanics aren't singing the way that I know they can until you're in run 10.
That is true.
Because you have the double dash, or you have your death defiances, and you have the ability to upgrade your weapons, which I'm 15 runs in and I still can't upgrade my weapons. Just give me the better variations of the weapons that I like already, for Christ's sake.
Which was the funny thing for me, because I made it on my 8th playthrough. I still had so much things unlocked yet. So I was just like kind of caught in the middle of, like,
I was just
so much
gonna
more in the
ask.
game.
I was just gonna ask Connor, did you like just mainline keys to try to unlock as many different powers in the mirror as possible, or like?
No, I actually didn't really. I just kind of stopped after that and just started doing the weapons. Prioritized that. I only unlocked one other set of abilities on the mirror, and then that was it.
Okay.
Other than that,
This motherfucker got lucky as a bitch.
Oh, I'm just so good, Tavin. You have to understand. With the sword, by the way. We were talking about builds earlier.
Did you use Curse Slash?
Is that the health one?
Yes, that's the one where it'll decrease it cuts your health in like a certain factor, but then you heal on every slash.
Best upgrade.
It's
Have you gotten? Oh yeah, you know about it too, Tavin. That's.
Oh yeah. I did it on this. I did it on. I've done it before, but I did it on this playthrough, and I made it all the way to Hades.
Yeah.
With that, because I think it was like a thing where like it was the first thing I got, where you just walked in and the hammer upgrade, which was there, which affects the like actual like mechanics of your weapon. And like Phil said, the Curse Slash, it cuts your health down to like 40% of its total or something like that. So you're losing like 60%.
Yeah.
Something like that. But every hit you land gives you 2 health back.
Yes.
Yep.
In this playthrough, I didn't do that. That's just my favorite build because it's able to carry me through the most. But I kept trying to get it, to beat it as quick as possible, but I never did. Still won with the sword, but I just used traditional, fighting styles and whatnot.
I will say, I also think this game is a great completionist game.
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't have it yet. Phil has it because he was focused on it, but this is just kind of like sitting on my PlayStation as like a kill time game. And it's just always great to come back and be like, oh, I can max out the sword today. Oh, I can focus on the adamant rail. I can focus on the bow. I can build up these relationships and so forth. Like, there's always something to do. There's always something to work for. There's a checkbox to be checked off at all times. Like, and I really, really appreciate that about the game.
Very, very good.
Very
good. If you don't like the adamant rail, definitely try to see if you can get the aspect of Hestia upgrade. Which is like, it costs 2 Titan blood, and then every time you manually reload your gun, your next hit does a bonus damage.
Now you roll a lot with that gun too.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is like Phil knows the systems and so forth. Like,
I know it like the back of my hand.
Yeah, he knows it.
It's like riding a bike.
Even when I was playing Hades at my peak, I didn't know these systems like that. I was like, I don't know. I like the thing that does this, and then when I combine it with that, that's what I like to do.
Yeah, there's depending on what weapon it has. I usually, whenever I'm playing Hades, I'll pick the weapon that is giving me bonus darkness. That's usually what I use as what I want to use this run. And I know what my ideal build is for each weapon. Like, I know what gods I want to focus. I know what thing, like general ideas I want to go for each build. Most of the time my dash is Athena.
Yeah.
Just because I want that deflect I can get on there.
I've learned to not do that so much on the dash specifically. Not it's kind of a crutch, and I found the more I lean off of the crutch stuff, the more success I'm finding now. Where, if I put, something that I've never had on the dash before, like I put weak,
that one's not bad.
Aphrodite's weak on my dash, and I was like, oh, this is actually helping out, especially in combination with some Artemis stuff where enemies that are affiliated with weak can increase your critical thing. And there's another one for Dionysus is what is it called, Phil?
It's like drunkenness or something like that.
Yeah.
Can't remember what it's called. But I think Dionysus has the best passive ones, not ones that I like to put on my attacks usually. Like, if it's the first one I have and it's put on attack, I'll put it on there. But I think Dionysus has some of the best passives. Like, there's After Party, which boosts your health back to a certain percentage.
Yep.
If you go below it. There's Strong Drink, which is every time you go to a fountain in the middle of it, it boosts your damage by a certain percentage.
And also refills your health all the way.
Entirely, yep.
Yeah. That one, if you get that one early, fuck. If you get it late, what's it fucking matter?
Yeah. That's one of those ones where if I'm looking for it the entire time, and then I'll see a Dionysus upgrade in the Tartars, the Hades area or Styx, like the Temple of Styx, and it's in one of those like the big shop that you have. It's in one of those, and I'm like, okay, I guess I'll get it for this last fucking fountain I'm gonna see at the Cerberus fountain.
Yeah, if I'm in Hades, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Because I just don't see the point.
Then, let's see. There's another one. Oh, numbing sensation. It's if you get below 40%, you take less damage. So that way,
that one's good too.
That comboed with After Party, it'll help you out.
You're being okay. I don't like Zeus. Like pretty much across the board, if I see Zeus, I avoid Zeus.
Oh, really? No. Zeus has a fantastic cast, really good attack.
See, I don't like Zeus's cast because I can't focus who I want to focus with it. Because you know you put your cast in someone and now they take extra damage. If I'm trying to focus a specific enemy, like the little pink balls that spit out butterflies at you,
Butterfly balls,
I try to get rid of those as soon as possible. So cast, fucking do a bunch of damage, get it the fuck out of here as soon as possible. With Zeus's cast, I can't do that because it zips off into somebody else, and I'm like, I don't fucking care about the random thing over there. Like, I need to get this thing done. So like, Zeus, I find just distracts and doesn't have enough bang for his buck.
Zeus is he's not my favorite, but he's still up there. Even though for him to be viable for me, I need at least one of the things I need my Zeus upgrade to be either my attack or my cast, and then I need a secondary upgrade that gives them the jolted status effect.
Yeah.
That's like the most viable way you can build Zeus. That, and also his dash isn't bad, and his like secondary dash ability, which you can get, which is there's the main one, which is cause a lightning bolt to go wherever you dash, and then there's a secondary one where if you have like a close call where you dash at the right time, they'll get struck by lightning.
That one's okay. I like his on the attack, but every one of his that I like, I feel like another god has a better one. So like whenever I see him, I just avoid him because I'm like I would rather just not.
Gotcha.
You know.
I think is the weakest boosts is Poseidon.
Really?
Oh God, I disagree.
At least as far as actual like attacks go.
Oh no, Poseidon's dash or Poseidon's call. His special. On the special. It depends on the weapon, but yeah, his call is fucking incredible. I love Poseidon's call.
I'll give you the dash and I'll give you the call and a couple of his passives. Other than that, I'm not reaching for Poseidon.
You see, he saved me because of his sunken treasure.
The sunken treasure.
I like so
it gives you a bunch of stuff, health. It gives you darkness, gives you gems. It's a good way to get level up. And
sunken treasure is good. What's better is Ocean's Bounty, because Ocean's Bounty will just passively boost everything that you get.
Percentages. I like your damage is increased in the first 10 seconds.
I don't like that at all.
Oh, I love it. Oh, I love it.
I think it's a waste because you like. There's sometimes you can't just bum rush it because there's enemies that will teleport around and there's enemies that will move around too much, especially ones that have armor. And it's just not viable.
See, but it's for that reason that like you can that first wave becomes irrelevant. Like because if you're in combination with a bunch of damage boost stuff, like that first wave you're knocking out and getting rid of almost immediately. The second wave, maybe if you did well enough and fast enough, you're digging into a good percentage after that. The third wave, that boost is gone, long gone. But I find it extremely useful for bosses. It melts bosses, like just getting that extra percentage of damage in those early stages where they're not throwing everything they have at you. So you have the opportunity to go ham and then pull it back and play a little more reserved.
But that's usually only for like bosses first phase, because usually when you get to a certain HP gate, they'll like get armor or they'll just block all your attacks, and by then 10 seconds has gone by.
I suppose, but then that's also the beauty of the Pact of Punishment, where you don't need to put those on. You know?
Wait, what?
Because you're talking Pacts of Punishment is what you're talking about.
No.
Oh, are you talking the moments where they become like Meg becomes invulnerable?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, sure, yeah, but like the faster you get to that, the better. You know?
Okay.
And then like my last 3 waves with the first boss, whether it's Meg or one of her sisters, I just melt them. Like they're not even a challenge. I'll say I always have and probably always will struggle with boss number 3. Number 3 just fucking eradicates me.
With
Artist.
yeah, the Minotaur and Achilles, not Achilles, Theseus.
Yeah, I hate that fight. Like I think it does just a little too much. I think it throws a little too much at you in combination with Hades' systems. And I think I think Hades is the best boss in the game. But because that boss is so hard and so complicated, it kneecaps like your perspective of Hades. So you don't think Hades is the hardest boss anymore. You don't think Hades is the best boss anymore because the fight before him is harder. So like, but like if you were to take that third boss out and just look at Hades on the path up from Meg, Snake, Hades, like that's a perfect escalation where like I think the peak of Theseus and the Minotaur is too much.
You should try it. You should try Theseus and the Minotaur with Extreme Measures 3 put on the Pact of Punishment. Because then, so Extreme Measures buffs the bosses. So Extreme Measures, if you put just one of them on, it'll give you. I think it's a toss up between 2 Furies or 3 Furies will show up. It'll be Extreme Measures 2 will. It's kind of the weakest buff. It gives the Hydra on the 3rd phase. It lets it move around freely, and there's lava all over the ground.
But by the time you're on the 3rd phase, like that boss is done. Yeah.
And then Extreme Measures 3 gives the Minotaur a golden set of armor. So he has more health and he's more resilient, and he changes up his combos. But it gives Theseus a fucking chariot with 2 cannons on it. So he's just launching fucking mortar shots at you the entire time, and he can run into you. It's one of those. It's a golden version of like the giant.
Does that
chariot
take
enemy.
away his base combos?
Until you get him half health,
and then he goes back.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would prefer that.
No, you don't.
Are you sure?
No, you don't.
The thing with Theseus for me is his fucking throwing the spear.
No, it's bad. It's really tough.
It doesn't sound like it. Just sounds like I have 2 motherfuckers running after me now, as opposed to like.
No, because Theseus is still mostly passive unless you get close to him. Because he'll passively just hit you with a bunch of mortar shots. But if you're me and you're a Chad, you prioritize Theseus first.
Yeah.
Because he's easier to take out first. Or he's better to take out first because then you can get rid of the god stuff, and you don't have to worry about the Minotaur because he's just kind of running at you, and you can kind of kite him around.
Yeah. If you take Theseus out, the rest of the fight is a cakewalk. But I still struggle to see how this is a problem because like.
Wait.
That just sounds easier to me.
Put it on then and try it.
You take out Theseus and the rest of the cakewalk. Can you take out Theseus first?
Yeah. I used to take out the Minotaur first, but then I started taking out Theseus first.
This is something Phil taught me when we switched over to PlayStation, where I saw him. I was watching him play before a hype stream, and I watched him take focus Theseus, and I went, "Oh, you focus him?" And he goes, "Yeah, man. I actually find that it's easier." And I went, I should try that. Because
it's definitely
Theseus
easier.
is an asshole.
I'm pretty sure if you do Extreme Measures 4, I haven't proved this because you don't need to get to do 4 for like the trophy for it to get for the heat level, I should say. But I'm pretty sure it gives Hades the 3rd phase.
Oh.
Yeah, that would be frustrating.
I think we can all agree though that Theseus is the hardest boss. Theseus and the Minotaur.
Theseus Minotaur, yeah, probably.
Yeah. Even more so than Hades.
I think specifically Theseus is the asshole to me. Like, I really don't like Theseus. But yeah. The story, I think, is fine. But the way the game is structured, it's not meant to be a, like, really impactful story or anything.
Yeah, it's not about the narrative.
I find myself getting a certain number of hours in, and then I just lose interest in it because it's so piecemeal, and, like, you could go 5 hours without getting an update, depending on where you are in your runs and what you're focusing on. Like, as soon as the Pact of Punishment comes in, it could, you're tweaking with different things and getting different heat levels, and you're focused on getting the currencies for your upgrades. So, like, it may be a cool minute before you beat Hades again, So, like, you don't remember what your mom told you the last time you were there, and so you don't really remember what the mystery is or the central conflict, and you just kind of start losing interest, and your interest wanes as you go on. I think it's the main reason I've never really gone the mile and like completed the story or whatever, because I'm like, well, I mean, it's just more variations of the same game. Like, you just make it harder, which is cool. But like, once you beat Hades, I would argue once, then you've beaten Hades. But really, it's like once you get past like 3 or 4, that's when like I think like, okay, yeah, you've really played Hades.
Yeah.
Yeah, I over like I'll compare it to God of War Ragnarok, which has a very good blend of like down the middle gameplay and story. While Hades obviously, definitely, as you guys said, definitely gives you way more gameplay because that's the central focus comparative to the story, which is done piecemeal. I found it always investing, and I always was looking forward to the next plot point to be revealed, though it may not have been as much of a forefront, factor as it is in some other games. I was, it gave me enough to where I was constantly like, okay, why did things play out the way they did? And then even after the whole, your thing with your mother was resolved, you had the Olympians come in and the resolution of that, and how you kind of got that the relationship that had been building between Hades and the Olympians was frayed, but kind of just due to a lack of communication. And fixing it, it just seemed it was done in a way that was just kind of realistic. It wasn't so like, it wasn't like there was any bad guys or villains. It wasn't like, this is there's the evil asshole who's just causing all these problems. It was just a simple family spat that could be resolved.
Yeah, Hades is that friend from high school that you stop texting for 2 weeks and then you basically forget they exist.
I'm going to push back a little bit on you, Connor, because I feel like there's, in the middle parts of the story, like, there's quite a bit of filler, I think, where it's just, like, flavor text to, like, either A, remind the player of what's happening, or B, like, they have a set number of times that you have to run through the game before they want to start giving you more narrative beats. So, like, they have enough plans for maybe 6 runs, but because they want to get to 10, 4 of those runs are sprinkled through and are just, like, no new information is given. And, when you get through a run and the objective is to beat Hades and you beat it, and then the reward is supposed to be a story beat, and that story beat isn't there, your interest plummets. Because they just don't have... the plot doesn't progress enough every single run to where you're like, oh, I am invested. Like, there just becomes points where I'm like, all right, well, that wasn't really worth it, so now what is my investment? If it's not the story, oh, it's these mechanics. Let me get my weapons up, or my mirror up, or whatever.
Yeah, I totally get that, which is why I stress that the gameplay is still, of course, the main focus, and it shows in moments like that. But I still found it was interesting enough, the narrative overall, to, even though it wasn't constantly giving me things as it maybe should have, it wasn't enough to make my interest in the story wane.
You know what is cool is how varied the dialogue is. Like,
which adds to it a lot.
Impressive. Yeah, like,
So
even to this day, I'm still finding new dialogue. And I'm like, oh, shit, I didn't even know you had this conversation at this point.
Yeah.
I can't remember if I've heard a repeat, at least aside from like mid battle, someone saying something like,
no, I don't know if I have either. There's just so much of it.
There's
like,
a lot.
There's a lot, and it also like changes like how far you're getting in your runs. Like, if you start getting far really early, then like you'll lose some like, there's dialogue that I heard my first time playing this game, and I haven't heard it since, because since I like on my other 2 playthroughs, like, I'm better than I was my first time. So there's a lot of like intro dialogue, a lot of beginning dialogue steps that kind of just get skipped over. And, maybe the game will double back and give them to me again. But, often like I just never hear it, And so it's quite impressive, the amount of dialogue lines, and how it's always in character. You always believe it. Like, maybe a bit of a spoiler for next week's Fire Emblem Engage review, but like, I don't believe the characters in that game. And the fact that Hades has just as much, if not more, dialogue than that, and you believe every line, and you think every line is realistic in not just the acting, but the wording, the cadence, where you are in the plot, which could be a million different places depending on whose dialogue tree you've explored more than others. Like, that's really impressive. And the fact that characters talk to each other, and where you are in the general plot affects that.
And you can listen
That's
to them. Yeah.
that the coding on that must be a fucking nightmare.
Have you guys ever had the thing where when you start, you like I had this one I think when I first started playing on PlayStation, where I got too far too quick in the game. Like what happened is I entered a chamber and then like something like lights flashed red and then really strong enemies spawned and stopped and like killed me really fast.
Mm-hmm.
No?
To like stop me from getting too far too fast.
Interesting. I did have the problem this time around where I had more encounters that felt like I died unfairly. Maybe that's just because my mindset is further along and I was trying to rush through it because I didn't want to play this game right now. But that's a me thing. I'm not taking it out on the game because I already know how amazing this game is. But yeah, I just found myself getting really, really frustrated where like I don't think I had a session that lasted more than 4 runs. Like most of my runs or most of my sessions were only 2. Like I'd do one and I'd lose and I'd be like, all right. And then I'd do another one and I'd lose and I'd be like, all right, I'm done. Like I don't want to do this anymore. Gentlemen, anything else we want to say about Hades before we start ranking this bad boy?
I don't think so. I think I'm all good. I love this game. It's fantastic, and I feel like it's one of those games where I'll just kind of just keep it on my console in some way because I for this time playing through I downloaded the PS4 version so I can get more trophies.
Of course, you did.
I love that. That's awesome.
Look what you guys are like now. You platinum assholes.
I mean, I'm gonna do the same thing for Final Fantasy VII Remake. So, so let's go ahead and dive into our list. If you've been playing along with us all of this time, this is our 8th game that we've reviewed. The current ranking goes like this: number 7, Batman: Arkham Asylum; number 6, Resident Evil 4. Oh fuck! Excuse me, that one snuck up on me.
4.
Number 6, Resident Evil 4. Number 5, Portal. Number 4, Chrono Trigger. Number 3, Dishonored. Number 2, The Last of Us. Number 1, God of War Ragnarok.
Can I go first? I think I said this last time.
Please, Connor, go first.
I was actually going to ask for you to go first because me specifically, I don't know if you think this game is better than Chrono Trigger because I wouldn't know.
Fair enough. See, what I'm going to do is fight an uphill losing battle. I know this. I understand. But I'm going to do it anyway. And considering my recent experience...
He's either going to put this way too fucking high or way too fucking low.
Considering... See, I've gotten to a certain point with video games fairly recently. Well, we'll see. Because I've got... like my philosophy for video games has gone to a certain point. I am a gameplay over anything story now.
Okay.
Top 2 games.
It's going way too high.
if it's not fun, you're not going to play it.
Exactly. And as I said before, I do like the story. I understand it's not the best. There's way better ones out there. I still was enjoying it through the entire time, paired with a game that, like I said, 2022, I'm still playing this even now. Now, as far as replayability, I think The Last of Us is better than God of War Ragnarok. I will not play Ragnarok for a long, long, long time. Last of Us, I already played multiple times back when it came out. Won't play Last of Us again for a while either, because I did play it so many times back in the day, and I played it now. But one thing I can say is I'll always go back to Hades. As we said, that's what's always going to be on the docket, so I'm putting it at number 1. I'm going to go crazy. I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy, bro.
There's
That's
some
what I
bit in
think.
the back of my mind. I was like, okay, I think he might do it at number 1. But then the more rational part of me was like, okay, he's probably going to go like 2, maybe 3.
Yep. But I decided to put it at the number 1 Uno spot.
Well, this is a losing battle for me because Phil won't do his fucking homework.
No, here's the thing. I'm not putting this. I could see this at number 3.
That's where I'm putting it.
I could see this at number 3. I don't think I can give it 2 or 1.
Really?
Yeah.
Explain why someone who has not put it or who has not played The Last of Us and takes any opportunity he can to dunk on me for my adoration of it. Why are you struggling to put it over 2?
I just feel like as great as Hades is, I feel like it doesn't have as much reach. I feel like
the impact's not there.
The impact's not there. Yeah.
Interesting.
True.
That's certainly an element of it. I think there's a there is a before Last of Us times,
Well,
and then there's
so
an after Last of Us times.
Here's my thing. I'm obviously gonna reach for Hades far before I reach for Last of Us to like pick up a controller and play. But I'm not deluded enough to not. I'm not as deluded as to say that The Last of Us does not deserve the praise.
Yeah, I've said it. I'm going 3 here. First of all, like, I think every game below Hades, we're talking about a different tier. Like, it's a different echelon of games, and I think Hades does enter that echelon that The Last of Us and God of War Ragnarok are in. Everything underneath those, not so much. Not to say they're not all great. I don't think there's a bad game on this list. I don't think there's
Connor would.
Connor
I would
would.
argue.
Connor's a madman. I don't think there's even just a okay game on this list. I think all these games are good to great to superb. And I think Hades does reach that conversation of superb.
Every game on this list is at least a 7.
You know, guys, I should mention about going. I'm sorry, just because we brought up Batman again.
Go ahead.
Plato was made to commit suicide when he talked out against the gods back in ancient Greece.
Plato?
The people knew that he was. The people were so afraid of what he had to say that they made him kill himself. And I am. Let's just say I'm vindicated in that spot for Batman. And I think history will show that as well. But side point. Sorry.
I mean, Connor, we agreed
Connor,
with you in the rankings. Like, Batman is our least favorite game on this list.
You just compared yourself to Plato.
I did. Yeah.
I love this, man.
Tavin, you will have to take out the part where he said the K word.
Oh shit.
What part? What did he say? Oh, killed himself?
Yeah.
I messed up. It was Socrates. Socrates.
Oh,
was the
Socrates.
answer. Socrates was the answer.
I think that's fine. I don't think that's that big of a deal. But returning to the conversation here, if we talk, so clear, I think just from Dishonored down, all of these games are great. They just don't break through into that conversation of greatest of all time. And I think God of War Ragnarok, Last of Us, and Hades do. The thing about it is, one, I agree with you, Phil. Here, let me change my streaming window so that you boys can also see what I'm looking at here.
I'm not watching the stream, but yeah.
So many fucking buttons I gotta click. There we go. Hades, I think, does have better gameplay than The Last of Us. And I am a gameplay is king person. However, I think games can be more than just gameplay. So if I'm going for a casual, like, I just want to sit back, relax, turn my brain off, I'm going to reach for Hades. But if I want something that's going to move me, if I want something that is going to hit me emotionally, if I want something that I think is true art, and where I think the peaks of this medium can reach, I think Last of Us and God of War are much more fitting for that sort of criteria. So it's less of which game do I think is better to play, which game do I think is more fun, which game do I think is better crafted on a systems level. It's more of what is the entire package. And also, Phil, you brought up legacy, impact, reach, and as we get deeper into this list and as we get further away from the launches of The Last of Us, from the launch of Hades, from the launch of God of War Ragnarok, which I believe are all 3 of those are the most recent games on this list. Yes, they are. I think their legacies and the impact that we'll see from them, I think The Last of Us will always have the greatest impact of those 3. I just think Hades will see more in the indie route, but I do give Hades credit for popularizing the roguelike genre. It's been here. There's examples of it. I played Dead Cells before I played Hades. There were The Binding of Isaacs. You've got your Rogue, what is that game called? Rogue Lights, I think, or something. There's a bunch of other things in the indie scene of this genre. It's just Hades did it to a level that it's never been done before, and Hades was a better better full package than all of those games, where Hades delivers upon a story. Hades delivers upon level design. Hades delivers upon systems and voice acting and music, and all of those other games in that genre kind of couldn't. But like when you talk story, which I agree with Connor is not the most important part, but it's still important. Last of Us just kind of trumps everything. I even think The Last of Us has a better story than God of War Ragnarok. And I think God of War Ragnarok being I've said it a million times at this point, the perfect blend, the perfect symbiosis between gameplay and narrative puts it up on that level. Last of Us took stories and video games which always tried to be serious but always came off super melodramatic or always came off super campy or corny or edgy, or when you actually broke down the plots of some games, they were actually bad. Like, it felt good in the perspective of the gamer, but if you just played the cutscenes, you'd be like, man, this story sucks. Uncharted is a great example of that, where, like, the stories of Uncharted fucking suck, but they don't feel like they suck when you're playing them. Last of Us story works. And I think the proof is in the pudding as we dive deeper into the TV show and as that narrative continues. Granted, it's always been more cinema. You see how like fucking dynamic this conversation is for me. At the end of the day, I think Last of Us is better. And so yeah, I'm putting Hades at number 3. I'm putting Hades at number 3.
So by law of averages, this would be putting Hades, because
it comes down to if you're letting it go above Last of Us or not.
I mean, I thought I said 3.
Oh, I thought you were debating. Okay.
No, I was saying by law of averages, does this turn it into?
It just reaches 3. It doesn't go any higher than that.
Connor,
it's
you're
like
muted, by the way.
It's like if we were Connor, you muted. I didn't hear anything you've said recently.
Oh, well, that's unfortunate.
You threw your phone up. I don't know what that was about.
Oh, I had already determined that it was number 3, so I already put it there like 10 minutes ago, because I knew it was gonna go that way.
Gotcha. Okay.
I mean, there was a chance this was gonna hit 2. In no world would this have hit 1.
But then Phil said his thing. I was like, oh, it's gonna be 3.
Okay.
As far as majority goes, because that's how we don't go based off averages.
No, it's a majority vote.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair
So like if we were all scattered across the board, it would just be like Batman, for example. If I put Batman at 1, Phil put it at 4, and you put it at 7, Connor, it would have landed at 4 because that's where Phil's vote stopped. But anyway, so yeah, our new ranking, ladies and gentlemen, is number 8, Batman Arkham Asylum. Number 7, Resident Evil 4. Number 6, Portal. Number 5, Chrono Trigger. Number 4. Did I say 4, Chrono Trigger? Number 5, Chrono Trigger. Number 4, Dishonored. Number 3, Hades. Number 2, The Last of Us. Number 1, God of War Ragnarok.
All right, Tavin, give us the wheel.
I'm happy with that. The wheel! It's time for the wheel.
Talk about our new rules.
Are we agreeing on that rule that I put in the chat, or like is that okay? Okay,
just
so
not like too many of the same type of game all at once. Yeah, I understand.
Well, it was more of I wanted to put in a sort of a mulligan rule where the 3 of us look through this list right here that we have, and we each take an entry out. If you don't want to, you don't have to.
Oh, we're just taking it out? I thought we just weren't gonna. I thought if it landed on that, we're just gonna be like, okay, spin it again.
No, just take it out. Like, just be like, hey, I really don't want to play that game this month. Like, so let's just pull it out. You can't do it 2 months in a row. So, for example, right now I'm gonna pull my thing would be Fire Emblem 3 Houses. I'm gonna pull that out because we're playing Fire Emblem Engage right now, and I'm just not in the mood.
So, are you then just gonna like take it and put it back in, or what?
Yeah, like literally, like there's like a little check mark thing that I can click, and it comes out, and then I just re-click that check mark.
Okay. Fair enough.
You need to remove Hades.
You need to take off Hades.
I do need to take off Hades. I need to find it. So, gentlemen, is there anything in the list that you're like, I really don't want to play that right now? Can we skip that this month? But next month it has to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Inscription.
Right.
You're pulling Inscription out, Phil?
Yeah.
That's shocking to me. Okay.
I just played it.
Got you. Connor, is there anything in the list that you're like, I could do without that right now?
It was literally one that I put in too. So.
I can't find Fire Emblem. I know it's in here.
It's going to be towards the bottom.
Oh, Batman Arkham Asylum needs to be pulled out?
It's going to be towards the bottom.
Oh, but Batman Arkham City needs to be in.
Mm-hmm.
looking at games. I'm looking. I feel like there was one that I was like, I don't really want to play this right now. You know what? You know what? I just don't feel like playing this month.
What's that, buddy?
Persona.
Persona.
Yeah.
Persona's coming out. That's fair.
Oh, I want to play the game. Just I'm gonna be. It's gonna be busy.
I want to say it's
Yeah.
above a Mega Man X. GTA
Above
3
Mega Man.
version.
Here's the XCOM,
XCOM.
Jedi, KOTOR, Resident Evil.
Is it not? Did you even put it in?
I should have. I just copy pasted everything. When I
Emblem Three
first
Houses
made this
should have
list, take the Persona
There's
out.
Persona 4. I thought you were changing it to Persona 3 anyway.
I am, yeah. So I'll change that
Remove
to
it.
Persona 3. I don't care what version of Persona 3 you play. That's fine. It could be Persona 3 portable.
Yeah,
or
it's
Fez.
Fire Emblem is just not on here.
Interesting. Okay. Well, Fire
A lot of
Emblem,
that afterwards.
3 Houses. Really thought it was, but that's strange. I'm gonna have to go back and recheck everything. Come back all the way down here and knock that out. All right. There we go. Now, we let the wheel decide. Where are we going this
What are we
month?
playing? What are we playing? What are we playing?
I fucked it up because I went full screen. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm
you
going again.
fool.
I'm going again.
What fun game will we be playing this month?
We are hitting
Oh, what are we playing?
The first Resident Evil.
Resident Evil 1, the remake version. We're not playing
Shit.
the original PlayStation version. It'll be the GameCube remake, which is a very traditional remake with twists and turns.
This game scares me.
So, gentlemen, don't be afraid to use a guide. Use your guides. I'm going to try my best not to use a guide, but as soon as I get lost, I'm going to be like, all right, where the fuck am I going?
It's not that difficult.
It isn't for the most part. It's just
Maybe at
you
the
know,
end.
Yeah. So that'll be our game for the month of to play through February and review
That's crazy.
on March, which will be March the weekend of March 5th. March 5th is when we will record it live over at twitch.tv/2pennygames, and we'll go live on youtube.com/2pennygames that night.
So besides Chrono Trigger, is that the new oldest game?
On the list, yes. At least like before remake. Let me think. Resident Evil remake came out before Resident Evil 4, correct, Connor? That sounds right to me.
Yes.
Or was it after? It was around that time. And then it would be before all of the other joints. I believe, if my memory is correct. So Chrono Trigger would still be oldest. When did Portal come out?
2005?
4?
I was gonna say 4. Yeah.
Something like that? All right, yeah. So, yeah, and then this would be 2003, 2004. 2002? I don't know. Let's find out. Google's a hell of a
2007.
fucking thing. The Resident Evil remake?
2007.
Oh, Resident Evil 7.
Portal 1.
Portal was 2007. That makes sense. Resident Evil GameCube
2002.
2002.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's before
Old
RE4.
GameCube.
So yeah, that would be our second oldest game that we've played on the show. So anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching and listening, whether you're in here for the review or in here from the full Two Penny Games cast conversation. We go live every Sunday, twitch.tv/2pennygames. In fact, if you're watching live, stay tuned because we're about to record our piggy bank episode for next week, which is going to be a fun one. I have a fun mini game for Connor this week. Let me tell you what. And follow us on Twitter at the number 2 penny games. TikTok 2 penny games spelt out. And YouTube, Twitch, and all mainstream podcast services of your choice. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Check out the new YouTube shorts that we've been putting out, specifically on YouTube. They're doing well on TikTok, but the numbers on YouTube are a little low this last month, so I don't know what's been going on there, but check those out as well. Until next time, have a great time. Gentlemen, say goodbye to the people.
Goodbye.
Bye.